Thank you for joining us. This is Paul Wilson.
And Chris Sankey.
And you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. Chris, we got a really cool show today. We're going to be talking to Brad Sankey, who's in the voting for Diesel Power Challenge, and one of a friend of the shop, we'll say. Yep. We're going to be going back to Wehrli's to talk a little bit about boots and elbows. And, of course, we're also going to be talking about a new project truck in the shop, a 95 Hummer.
Yeah, let's dive into the Hummer, right?
Sure, man. So, now, you bought this truck, correct, for the company?
Yeah, Nick has these things where for starters, he's been wanting to do a Hummer project for a while. Okay,
right.
Anyone that knows the company or listens to the show, we've done a lot of conversions in the past. We had an 85 Scottsdale with an LB7. In the fall, we actually sold that to a real good friend of ours, Mark Downing out of Virginia, to make some room for new projects, of course. Then, of course, we have the 04 Suburban with the LBZ, the 1,000-horse Suburban.
Yep. The 58 Apache with 800 horsepower LB7 in it. No big deal.
And Nick wanted to do a new project. He wanted to do a Hummer, but it had to be a wagon Hummer.
Yeah, it was funny. It was right after we had the Humvee from Blair Outland at XI Diesel.
Yep. So Nick wanted to do something a little bit more domesticated, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's a fully loaded, all the bells and whistles Hummer. It's a 1995. We ended up doing a LBZ in this one.
Yeah.
So converted LBZ Duramax. It's going to be hosting an array of parts. So we've teamed up with companies like Exergy, for an example. And Exergy has provided some 100% injectors, one of their injection pumps, and the goal is
like a 10 mil or a 12 mil pump.
It's a 12 mil pump in that, I'm pretty sure.
Love it.
And we're shooting for 700 plus in that.
Yep. That'll be featuring our Stealth 67 G2, the VVT model,
our DT 750 trans. All the cool stuff that we do over at Calibrated Power Duramaxtuner is going to be hosted in this truck.
Yeah.
And then we did a conversion kit from the boys down in Florida at Pila Motorsports.
I was just going to say, not a sponsor of the show, so we're not trying to plug you over here, Adam or A-Bomb, but we love you guys. And it was a really cool conversion kit that I don't want to call it turnkey because I feel like that way oversimplifies what our mechanics have done over the last 3 weeks.
It's been in-depth, to say the least.
It was everything we needed.
But I will say it goes to show, over at Calibrated, we work with certain vendors, and the Exergys of the world and the WC Fabs of the world. In, Pila, we were on the phone with them yesterday going through a couple of the diagnostics with the conversion on some things that we oversaw.
Yeah.
So another company where you do business with them and they're on the phone.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to be a part of.
And of course, Adam Pila has been on the Diesel Performance Podcast in the past. I think we caught him at UCC, and maybe one other time. You can go back and check our archives for those episodes. Super smart guy, super smart guy.
Yeah. So, guys, be on the lookout. We're going to be doing a ride along in that. And Nick probably doesn't even know that we're doing it. Nick, you're going to find out probably here first. But we are going to do a ride along in that.
That's right. Really we pass messages along to our boss through this podcast.
Straight faced, stiff arm, the whole nine. But I'm excited for this one because we did the ride along with Blair Outlands. And,
right.
And Blair's Humvee was super badass.
Dude, 1280 at 105 in the quarter. She was bad.
No discredit to that, but this is the next evolution of a conversion of this stature, just of what it offers.
Well, I think. I know when I think back to Blair's truck, I love that truck. That truck was actually here back in 2013 for probably just shy of a year. I drove it all the time. Anytime they would let me grab the keys to it, I drove that truck. And then when it came back here in 2018, it was miles better. All of a sudden it had a radio and a dash that worked and all of these little features that I thought were awesome. But if you guys listen to that episode, which I doubt you did because you can't hear us, all you can hear is the truck running for the 30 minutes we drove it and Chris and I trying to scream back and forth. That's not the type of truck we generally build.
No. So I guess, to kind of put it into perspective, in 2005, Hummer did a Duramax production run. Alpha, where it hosted a 5-speed Allison, LOY Duramax, and there wasn't a lot of them out there.
LOY or LBZ?
It's an LOY.
Okay.
These are LOY. So there was a joke going on in the shop that the most expensive LOY platform that's out there, these are $100,000 trucks to this day.
Yeah. Used $100,000
Used $100,000.
Crazy.
So Nick was on eBay and he found this, Hummer wagon in, it was a 95. It had a 6.5 in it. And the guy said that the motor was blown. Well, come to find out it had a faulty pickup in the tank. So we yanked the motor, right? It doesn't matter, the logistics, but we had the truck shipped from the eastern part of the country.
Yeah.
I believe it was New Hampshire, and then had it brought here, and did the conversion. So, it's going to be a really cool project. But going into the sound more specifically, I am anticipating that we'll be able to be in this thing and we're going to be able to have an honest conversation.
Right.
It's not going to be the Scottsdales or the Apaches of the world. It's going to be a little bit more modernized, if you will, more of along the lines of like the Suburban. So I'm excited.
At least that's the goal of the project. We will see.
Yes.
We did have it running. We did a first start video just the other day on Instagram. If you guys aren't following, jump on Calibrated Power Duramaxtuner on Instagram. We did have a first start video on there, so you can kind of see the sketchy or outlines and sketches of this truck.
And the goal here is to, we want to do the ride along next couple weeks, get it live, have the listeners, view that. If you haven't been on our Instagram, go follow and like that. But we will eventually we'll have that truck at Ultimate Callout Challenge. 20.
Yeah, it sounds like that's going to be at UCC.
So again, it's not something that you see every day. It's very unique in its own way. The fabrication, the skill set that went involved in doing the conversion is second to none, like anything you've ever seen. So it's impressive in person.
Absolutely. Speaking of UCC, hey guys, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we're going to be in Brownsburg, Indiana. That's just outside of Indianapolis. At Ultimate Callout Challenge, Diesel Performance Industry Expo. We've talked about it a lot on this show. We're really excited. This is the biggest diesel event in the country. No question.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. The people that we deal with on a daily basis, they're there. This is their time to really soak in what the industry is as a whole. But then it gives people such as like us a chance to put faces to the names, and
the voices we talk to every day, the other vendors that we deal with, and even the customers,
the end users and stuff like that. And plus, all these different shops get to display what they've been working on for the last year. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes that no one ever discusses and talks about, and then they debut it.
Right.
That's just, I don't wake up on a Monday say, hey, I'm going to do this, and on Friday it goes live. It's months, if not, years of development. So it's really cool to see, the vendors that you work with, competitors, end users and the feedback that they have. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are as well. We've discussed this a lot.
Sure.
Not on record, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, hey, one of the other things that was a lot of fun, Chris, was our trip over to WC Fab a few weeks ago. We're going to cut to a segment of that trip. Why don't you tell our listeners what they're in for?
So, being in this, being in the industry as long as I have and dealing with some of the vendors in the past, there's a lot of different options when it comes to intercooler pipes and turbocharger setups, compound piping, triple turbo piping. And I wanted to get a perspective of what goes into the fabrication. What makes one vendor's kits different than the next. So Jason does a really good job of explaining things to look out for, not just in the product that you buy from him specifically, but just in general when you are shopping around.
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's cut over to that now.
So over the years, just in general, the growth of the industry and the performance, I mean, we're not dealing with gas applications or cars making 10 or 20 pounds of boost, in almost all instances, our product is going on trucks where you're making in excess of 30, sometimes in excess of 75, sometimes even in excess of 100 pounds of boost.
I mean, the standard's 45 pounds or more.
Yeah.
Let's just be real.
Yeah, but there is a lot of product, where, like a twin turbo kit, for example, or even a big single setup, it's going to see 60 pounds of boost. And you don't want to be using, 3-layer silicone boots that are on a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle. Like, we strive anytime we're developing a new product to do everything we can to eliminate the need for any sort of angled boot. An angled boot is just asking for a failure
That's
point.
a vulnerable spot.
It's a vulnerable spot, exactly. So on all of our product, if it's a pressurized section of our kit, an intercooler pipe, we do everything we can to use a straight boot connection. Eliminate the less chances for failure, essentially. And in a case where there doesn't need to be flex, say a pipe that goes from an atmospheric turbo to a high pressure turbo, we'll typically always put a V-band on both ends of that with an O-ring seal. Eliminate the boots altogether. Now, you can't always do that on intercooler pipes because an engine's mounted in a chassis and your intercooler's mounted to the body and there's flex and there's motor twist. So unless your motor's solid mounted in a race application, you can't go putting V-bands on your intercooler and on your turbo and put a solid pipe in there. You're going to break a lot of shit. So there has been some, inventions, like with Vibrant Performance, for example, with their van gen assemblies, which is the idea of a V-band clamp, but it gives you flexibility. It allows the pipe to move. So on some of our really big kits, big twin or triple setups, big boost numbers, you guys can pay extra and we can upgrade to the Van Gen style clamp assemblies, and we'll be able to do that on the intercooler pipes and even on the intercoolers and eliminate boots altogether. I mean, we've built kits that don't have a single silicone boot on it. It's going to cost you a whole lot more money. Don't forget about that. But you get rid of all your boot component failures, and you go to all these solid connections. So that's one thing we strive on when we're developing a product, as I mentioned, is to not use the angled boots. I mean, if you're looking at buying a kit or an intercooler pipe assembly and you think it's better, or you're not sure about the product, or you're learning, or you're doing your research, an important thing to remember is those angled boots are a failure point. So we try to stay away from those as much as possible, and you won't see them in our kits unless there's some absolute reason where space constraints are an issue and you don't have a kit, you don't have any other option. But that's very far and few between.
All right, so that was a really good time we had over at WC Fab. And guys, we got to see every department of their shop. We got to see every inch of their facility. It is absolutely amazing. There was probably the first 5 minutes that we were just awestruck about the scale of the operation over at WC Fab. So over, like we said, the next several weeks, we'll be bringing you little pieces of that. Hey, getting off of the forums, we're starting to see more and more activity on the Facebook and the Facebook groups, which are a lot easier to get into. One of the guys you're going to start seeing in those Facebook groups, because you've also recently seen him probably voted on or up for voting in Diesel Power Challenge, is our friend and current potential competitor for Diesel Power Challenge, and that's Brad Sankey. Brad's a great guy. He's got a really badass LLY 2.6 truck. We've been working with him for over a year. We're excited to talk to him today. All right, Brad Sankey, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. You guys?
Yeah.
Doing good, man.
Good day in the Midwest, right?
That's it, yeah. Weather's finally broke up here. Now, Brad,
it's nice and warm.
you're out of Wisconsin. You're pretty close to our neck of the woods, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm in the Oshkosh area.
Okay. A few hours. Just
Sure.
a couple.
Now, Brad, we had you on the show today because you're in the voting for Diesel Power Challenge. Also, just full disclosure, Duramaxtuner sponsored your truck for tuning last year and again this year for sled pulling. I wanted to get our listeners kind of a little bit more introduced to you. Can you walk us through your current build?
Yeah, no problem. So my current build did not come mainly from choice. Took the truck down at the end of the season, found I had 7 bent rods.
Wait, hold on. 7 bent rods? Like
I had,
7 out of the 8.
Rods.
Okay.
Yep.
Really drilling that home, Chris.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it was surprising. Couple cylinders, 5, 6 weren't terrible. 30, 40 psi low. Compared to what you'd expect from a 300,000 mile motor. After that, one cylinder was 200 psi low.
Oh.
Decided might as well just go ahead and build it. So it's kind of not the standard build. It's got a CP Carrillo hybrid rotating assembly, and what that is, it's 202 thousandths of an inch longer rod with a smaller wrist pin to move the pin further up on the piston.
Okay.
And it ended up saving 4 pounds of the entire rotating assembly.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of helped save the stock crank, because as we all know, it's kind of a weak point in the Duramax community.
Sure.
So also ended up going with a SoCal 6480 AF cam. Again, just to kind of help the crank, even though it's not necessarily a proven, you won't break a crank with one. I figured I wanted to give this thing the best shot it could. Put a fluid damper, balancer on it, ARP studs, then hardware throughout the entire engine. Managed to pick up a Suncoast billet flex plate. They went on sale winter of 2017. So got it for almost half price, so couldn't complain there.
I always remember a good deal.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Popping off with some SoCal push rods, valve springs, some new GM parts like lifters and oil coolers, stuff like that. Onto the fuel system side of things, when I decided, time to tear the engine down for a build, figured 60% overs weren't enough. Ended up picking up a set of 250 overs with internal mods, did some horse trading there. Went from a 10 mil stroker pump to a 14 millimeter street pump from Exergy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then, Yeah, and last year when I was on the dyno, we had some fuel pressure issues in terms of lift pump supply. So turns out after 250,000 miles, the Air 2 165 didn't really want to keep up with fuel pressure. So this whole off season, got into a Fuel Lab Prodigy setup, doing it all myself, all dash 10 lines everywhere. Kind of overkill, but I didn't want to run out of fuel again.
Sure.
So also made a turbo change over the winter out of necessity. Ended up actually grenading the 475 that was on it. So it was a full-size Batmo Gen 2 475 87 with a 1.0 AR T4 housing.
Which is a pretty nasty charger for sled pulling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, with the 3,000 stall converter, the tuning from you guys, and the way that turbo was, it honestly drove great. I got 17 miles a gallon on the highway, and highway. When I say highway, I mean cruise said it's 62. On the freeway, it was considerably less, but 5-speed problems.
Yeah.
So went to a forced inductions Generation 4 S480 96 with a 1.10 T6 housing, also with a V2 race cover for this upcoming season. I think that pretty much covers the air side of things. As for the chassis, it's got now it's got a full billet 5-speed with a Defoe 6-pinion Planet. As I said earlier, a Garand J 3000 stall triple disc converter, E-locker in the front, True Track in the rear, just some standard Yukon 4340 cut to length rear shaft.
Oh, yeah, just standard ones.
Shaft. I mean, they're nothing fancy, right? I mean, you'll get them for I think like $300 a side. It's not too bad.
Sure.
You know, way better than going to a full 38 spline setup.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. I mean, that's something that we did on the Apache, and it was a huge project. I laugh because I think most guys who are still driving their trucks on the highway or on the freeway probably aren't looking at some of these pieces, but I love it because you are. I think that's been one of the really cool things about your LLY. Hey, man, it's a great truck. It's performed really well. It's probably not the number one pick for a show truck. We could agree on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree.
but
you know, going into it, it never was built to be a show truck.
Exactly.
You know, like all of last season, I drove it to all but one sled pull.
Oh wow!
Every single pull it got driven to. So I'd show up, jack the thing up, put my my pulling tires on. You know, got to put a BFG mud terrains on stock wheels. Bolt them on and go. And then at the end of the night, jack it back up, put the crappy tires back on it, and drive home.
So it's one of those all go no show type scenarios. You know, let them judge you. You're going to beat them. So who cares?
That's really what the goal was. You know, I didn't want. Sure, you know, I could go fix all the paint chip and rusty rockers from living in the UP its entire life, but it doesn't really get me anywhere.
Sure. No, I love it. That's exactly how I would build a truck, right? Who cares what the outside looks like? Let's see it go down the track.
Absolutely.
How did it perform last year sled pulling? So you were in not in the ISP circuit, right? You were Badger State. Is that right?
I pull a lot with New Motorsports.
New Motorsports, okay.
Northeastern Wisconsin. They typically do from the Oshkosh, Mishicot area north.
Gotcha.
I made a couple trips over to Midwest truck and tractor pullers, and went to the Hot Shot Secret Chuck Challenge a week after I left your shop.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Now you're in the is it 2.5 or 2.6 class? What is it these days they're running up there?
So we actually have a 2.6 moveboard class. Last year I was hooking mainly in our street diesel class, just to be able to drive the truck. Our 2.6 class is full frame bridging.
Gotcha.
Drawbar setup.
Yeah.
Which could do, but I couldn't drive the truck on the street. I mean, I still drive the thing to work every 2-3 days a week.
That's awesome. That is badass.
Chris, you love those big single trucks on the street, don't you?
I used to, yeah.
Oh, they're so much fun.
Yeah. They really are. I mean,
We give Chris a hard time because Chris used to drive a lot of Cummins, big single turbo, manual transmission, and now he's got an old man grandpa truck with a set of twins on it, automatic transmission, heated and cooled seats. He's pretty much a princess these days.
Wow.
yeah, I'm old as
Talk about
fuck.
a change.
Dude, I suck as a person. I'm not going to lie to Brad.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest.
One day I'm going to come back. It's going to be like another old, like, 12 valve with, like, a big S400 on it and just...
Sankey will still smoke you. Don't worry about
That's
it.
all right. You know what? I'm riding in style.
I tell you, I got a screwdriver for you. We can turn the thing up.
Hey, when you come back down to get on the dyno, bring it by. I appreciate that.
Perfect. I mean, Sears is going out of business. You get some
Get a good deal. Hell of a salesman. I like
I
it.
love it. I love it. So, Brad, what are your plans for this season? What does it look like for you for sled pulling? And then at the end here, we'll talk a little bit about your plans for DPC.
So for this season, the class is kind of sticking around. The street diesel class with New Motorsports, that is, it's not really a sanctioned class, but I am going to be trying to go down and run the outlaw class with Midwest Truck and Tractor Pullers.
Oh, wow.
So essentially what that class is, if it's street legal, they don't care if it's got triples, big single, whatever you've got. If it can drive on the road legally, you can go there.
Yeah, Wehrli's been running that class for a while now. 1,000 horsepower
Yep.
triple turbo truck. That's a pretty nasty class. Do you think you can compete?
I would hope so. I mean, it's an injectables class. We all know big singles love nitrous, low back pressure. Forced induction has routinely made north of 1,200 horsepower with this Charger. So I'm not too concerned on the horsepower side of it. It's just getting it all to the ground and getting the truck to actually hook good in the first 100 feet.
I love it, man. Well, I'm excited.
I guess now's the $1 million question.
Yep.
Right? So it's a dedicated sled pull truck /
Daily
3 day a
driver.
week. Yeah, drive it to work. And then you get into the runnings for DPC. What does that look like if you get voted in?
Well, looks like not much is going to change from what's being said in this podcast, right? The truck is what it is. If I were building a truck to go compete just in DPC, it wouldn't be a big single truck. It's classic Midwest sled puller, hot street truck build. We can get away with big singles down here at 1,200, 1,500 feet, right? So it's not like going to 5,500, 6,000 feet.
Yeah.
I'm going to add more nitrous to it. The goal is to be running essentially 3 stages of nitrous, 2 on a progressive controller and 1 on a button, kind of the oh shit button.
There you go.
And I got a purge solenoid I'm going to repurpose as a spool jet.
Okay.
So
I like that idea. All right,
Yep.
Brett, we're getting a little bit of feedback in our phone here. We apologize for that, listeners. We'll clean up as much as we can there. Brad, I'm really excited. Now, DPC, you and I talked the other day. It includes a wide range of competition. It's not just a power game, right? There's a lot of driver error that we see cost people or win people that challenge. What are you going to do to prepare for Diesel Power Challenge?
Well, I'd love to say I'm the best at everything, right? But let's be honest, we all aren't. The truck's got a big single. I already know going into it, the fuel economy test is going to be what will cripple me. That and the trailer obstacle course. The thing that I've got going for me on the obstacle course, grown up my entire life, towing trailers, stuff like that. So I got, quite a few, probably bumping 50,000 miles hooked to a trailer, if not more. So I'm not too worried about that standpoint. It's just if the power is going to come on when I need it, because even though it's not an event where you need 1,000 horsepower, you still need to be able to get that trailer out of its own way and get the weight moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Now
it's going to be a lot of RPM. Probably mainly second gear, and that's what's going to have to work for that. fuel economy test. I don't necessarily know the ins and outs in terms of can we use injectables, can we not, things like that. If the use of CO2 is allowed, things like that. So
interesting.
Yep, temp management I think is going to be the key.
Yeah, it definitely was. I had the pleasure of being there last year as we are the official podcast of Diesel Performance Challenge. I was there last year, and I'll be honest, that fuel mileage test just smoked trucks, Chris. It just ate them alive.
Well, I mean, and there's one thing Brad hasn't mentioned. So do you have a lot of time, do you have a lot of seat time drag racing?
Oh, good question.
I do not, but I have quite a few events here in May that I'm hoping to hit. There's a local track, Wisconsin International Raceway. So, I mean, I've definitely taken my fair trip to the streets of Mexico, right? We all have. The thing hooks pretty good. I've got to work with you guys and get a second gear trans tune. I think that's what's going to really help me out and be able to bring the power in when I need it.
Yeah, I like that. Cool, man. Well, Brad, we're definitely excited. Listeners, grab a copy of Diesel Power Magazine. The most recent copy has the ballots in the back. I believe you can also print the ballots off online, but you do have to mail them in to be counted. No electronic voting. You can vote as many times as you'd like. And hey, guys, we'd love to see you put in about 100 votes for Brad Sankey each. Yeah. So all 4 of our listeners, Brad, I think we can get you 40 votes, bro.
Yeah, dude, we got you.
Perfect. I mean, I've got like 12, so.
Man, the whole town of Oshkosh is voting for you.
Right, everybody.
I like it. That's good.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for your time today. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Just a shout out, to you guys having my back with Duramaxtuner / Calibrated Power Solutions. Help me on the tuning side of things. SoCal, PPE, and that's really it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. Listeners, check us out next week. We're going to be talking to another competitor for UCC or for Diesel Power Challenge. We'll see what our calendar has in store for us.
For today, this has been Chris.
And Paul. Thanks for listening.
The Diesel Performance Podcast is brought to you by Calibrated Power Solutions, home of Duramaxtuner.com. Calibrated Power develops emissions-equipped calibrations for a wide variety of diesel powertrains, including the Duramax, Cummins, Power Stroke, John Deere, Case, New Holland, and many more. For more information and great customer service, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920. That's 815-568-7920.
Dude, I suck as a person. I'm not going to lie to you, Brad.